Dear Select Board, thank you for taking time to listen to our presentation to make Lexington a fur-free town. This is the first time the town will be considering such a bill, but we will not be alone in our protection of animals, our planet, and human health. As of today, the towns of Wellesley, Weston, Plymouth, Brookline, and Cambridge enthusiastically supported their towns going fur-free. According to a study in 2020 by the Humane Society Legislative Fund and the Fur-Free Alliance, the majority of Massachusetts voters, 59 to 64%, support a statewide fur ban, with only 19% opposing. Fur bans in Massachusetts always pass on the first round. Every single town above passed such laws by an overwhelming majority and with so much enthusiasm. We believe Lexington citizens are on the side of compassion, too. Many prominent cities and towns have banned the sale of fur, including San Francisco, Los Angeles, Wellesley, Weston, Brookline, Plymouth, and Cambridge. But so far, the only U.S. state who has banned the sale of fur completely is California. Many countries have banned fur, including Austria, Croatia, and the United Kingdom.
What is the fur industry, and who are the animals exploited by it? Fur is a fabric made from the skin of fur animals such as minks, rabbits, raccoon dogs, foxes, seals, beavers, chinchillas, raccoons, sometimes even cats and dogs. When you take fur from an animal, the animal is killed in a cruel way. As a town with many loving dog owners and appreciation for nature and peace in nature, Lexington residents understand that such cruel procedures do not belong in our town. 100 million animals are killed every year to make fur coats, pom-pom hats, and trim-on jackets. Fur is mistakenly synonymous with wealth, or it used to be. But now fur customers understand the cruelty involved. Fur is becoming synonymous with vanity and cruelty. Major brands agree that fur is no longer in fashion. Hundreds of retailers have ditched fur as an outdated, unnecessary fabric. Compared to synthetic and other natural textiles, fur has a higher impact per pound. In 17 of 18 environmental categories, including climate change, waste runoff, and toxicity. While I won't read all of the data points here, what is clear from numerous studies is that fur farming has a much greater climate impact than alternative textiles.
We used to think of the classic cliche of fun at the lake, running and jumping off the dock. Now there are massive toxic algae blooms from late May until November, and when they die off, the bacterial decomposition uses up all the oxygen, and we end up with huge dead zones. Debbie Hall, resident of Lake Fanning, Nova Scotia, Canada. Fur farms cause extreme environmental hazards that can change quality of living for people nearby. In 2020, COVID-19 struck hundreds of mink farms in Denmark, killing 17 million mink and further spreading the virus to workers and people nearby. The virus literally jumped from the mink to the human handlers back and forth, and in the process mutated. The mink had to be buried in a nearby landfill and actually rose up from the ground due to the chemicals in their bodies that made them rise. The newspapers even called them zombie minks. The dead mink were also located dangerously near a water reservoir. If somebody gave me a few $100,000 and free access to China to find the source of the virus, I would look in places where raccoon dogs are bred. Christian Droston. The conditions in which fur animals are kept are prone to spreading and even creating of SARS viruses. Raccoon dogs in China were a major contributing factor to COVID-19. For those animals that are not bred in a fur farm, they are trapped in the wild under the most inhumane, painful, and cruel conditions, as you can see above.
Trapping also has the unintended consequence of capturing our favorite animals like cats and dogs. Animals are known to literally bite off their legs to escape the traps, which ends in an inevitable death. Imagine the moms trying to return to their babies, but die a horrific death. No matter the animal, the conditions on the fur farms are brutal, painful, and inhumane. For example, the fox on the top left lost his ear, and those mink on the right are in tiny cages with barely any room to move. What the Lexington Fur Ordinance does and doesn't do. The ordinance does not limit the sale of leather of any kind, or cowhide or sheepskin with hair fibers still attached. It does prohibit the sale of fur from animals raised in fur farms or trapped and killed only for their pelts. Foxes, coyotes, raccoon dogs, minks, chinchillas, and rabbits. It does prohibit the sale of fur products both in person and online of retailers and buyers physically located in Lexington. The ordinance exempts used fur sold secondhand, fur used for Native American tribal purposes, fur used for religious purposes, taxidermy. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation, and we hope we can count on your support for passing this referendum, like Wellesley, Weston, Plymouth, and Brookline, and Cambridge. Lexington's love for animals is well known, and its love for nature and the balance in nature is even more known. We can do it. It's the right thing to do.